Good afternoon, Joe Jacobson here again with step-by-step blog building. Today we're talking about setting up the basic settings for your WordPress, which you should have just loaded in the last video. You got that software loaded, and now it's time to get in there, log back in to your cPanel. Not your cPanel, but into your WordPress dashboard and get those settings taken care of. First step will be to go change the writing settings, get them the way you want, then the reading settings, discussion settings, the media, privacy, and finally the permalinks. Let's just jump right on over there and take a look. Okay, here I am logged in already to this demo site, which is the dashboard. And you should be very familiar with this by now. What you want to do is go on down here on the left side, the menu, click on settings. That'll open up this right here, which I already have open. And then the first one that you want to do is called general. And we're going to do all these: general, writing, reading, discussion, media, privacy, and permalinks. So click on general. That's the first one. General settings, very simple basically. A lot of these you don't really have that much to do to change, especially right in the beginning. But what you want to do is come in here and add in your title, whatever the title is of your website. In other words, your domain. This one happens to be just called demo. But if yours is, well, whatever it is, I'm just going to type in, basically put your domain name right here. Whoops, just like that. You don't need the .com or anything. That's actually going to be tying in here to your websites and your blogs meta tags. So this one's actually really important to put in right there. It also will show up way up here. You see up here in this blue bar, and this is Firefox I have open here, but it'll show up right up here as well. Okay, so that's important. Tagline, if you have a tagline, you can put it in here. This is, next two lines here are by default filled out for you. The email address is put in there for you. If you don't want that one in, add a different one. A membership is dealing with people that want to register on your blog, and you can click in there if you really want. Anyone can register. And also, when they do they register as a new user under a subscriber role, administrator, editor, author, or contributor? So you can determine that. If you're not clear on that, just leave it at subscriber for right now. Time zone, you do want to change this. I think it defaults. See, UTC here, that's over there in Greenwich time in England. So I'm on the East Coast. I'm 5 hours different from there. So it's -5. If you're on the Pacific Coast, it would be different. So basically, go over here and find it. Or if you happen to know it, just put it in there, -5, -4, -3 if you're in the U.S. Or you can come over to here. If you're around the world somewhere, you've got Asia, you can click on one of these cities. If you happen to know you're in the same time zone with any of these cities around the world, there's some Caribbean cities and so forth. So this category here is, what do they call this? The Americas. See, here's Anchorage if you're in the U.S. If you're on the Pacific coast of the U.S., you know that you're in the same time zone as Los Angeles, so that'll work. Okay, so that's really easy. Just find the one that's right for your time zone, and then change the date format if you'd like to use one of these other formats, and the time format. And this one here, start week on. This will be mostly applied to like a calendar or a calendar plug-in that you might have on your website. It'll start the week on whatever day that you want. Okay, Sunday or Monday are pretty typical. And then hit Save Changes. The next one is writing, and this deals with writing posts. This would be the size of your post box. I think it defaults at about 10, maybe 20 lines, and I like mine a little bit shorter, so I put 5 in there. And that's really about the only thing you need to change right up front. Later on, you might have categories that you create. We'll talk about that later for your posts, and categories for links. That is, links that you're linking out to other resources or perhaps other blogs or websites. Okay, so that's about all you need to change here, except we get down to the bottom right here. When you first get started, I think you'll probably just have this one update service. As it says right here, when you publish a new post, WordPress automatically notifies the following site update services. So that's getting your site out there to all these different services. What it does is it pings, P-I-N-G, it pings these different services and lets them know you have some new content. So that's a good thing. You want that to happen. And right now, you just have the one. So I have a list for you. I'll include that in a PDF document that you can download so that you have the whole list, and you should be able to copy and then paste all these other ones that you see down below here. Let me scroll down. You can see, continuing on down, there's another, probably, whoops, that one shouldn't be there. Actually, I better take that one out while I see it. Okay, and so anyways, there's another dozen or a couple dozen or so services down here. And that's what you want to paste in there. And then click on Save Changes. Okay, the next setting here is under Reading. And this one here is very simple. There's not much to do here. When you're first getting started, you probably can leave it here. Your front page, it says right here, displays your latest posts or a static page. And a blog, after all, is a type of platform that you are sharing ongoing new content. In other words, new posts. The pages are actually static, meaning you write the page one time, that content, and it just sits there and is there available for your visitors. You can update it now and then, but it's basically static information like the old style type of websites. But you can change this right here if you want to make a static page your front page. Then you click on this radio button, and then you drop down and see. Now you won't have too many sites, actually too many web pages or no pages right now before you get started. But I have a few right here. I could make this register or about me or something, could be, or about my services, could be my front page. Okay, but I'm going to leave it here at latest posts. And then you can determine how many posts will show up on that page and how many items get syndicated, and then for that syndication feed, whether you want full text or summary. This one here can be left for your encoding, UTF-8. That's pretty standard. You can probably leave that. And then click on Save Changes. Pretty simple there. Then you get down to discussion. There's a lot more options for this one. But again, getting started, you can probably leave just about everything the way it is, default, by the default settings, and you're probably just fine. You can always come back in here later on if you want to change it, and as you get more familiar with what you actually want. But everything's okay to good to go the way it is. If you want to blacklist some sites, some names, some URLs, some emails, you can do it right in here, and that's for commenting, so you don't get any spam. You can blacklist individual sites. Avatars, if you don't have an avatar, or if somebody's commenting and they don't have an avatar set up, which is basically the image that follows you as you comment, then you can pick one of these default avatars, and you might want to pick one of these other ones down here, at least it has some kind of an image rather than just blank or Mystery Man. Usually I think it defaults to Mystery Man, and then click on Save Changes. Then we get to media. Really not much to do as far as the changes here, unless you don't like this thumbnail size. It defaults to 150 by 150 pixels, and that's a pretty decent size. What that means is that as you're writing a post, it will insert an image, and if you have an image that you attach to your post, it will insert a smaller thumbnail size right in there with your post, especially as an excerpt. Okay, the medium size, all this can be left here pretty much by default, and uploading files. You don't need to fool with that right away. If you do change anything, click on Save Changes, and we get to the privacy settings. There's not really much there. Just be aware that if you want it to be visible on the internet and to the search engines and to everyone else, then just leave it here. Be sure this one is checked up on the top here. Okay, if you want to block the search engines for some reason, I've never done that, but at least not for the whole site, then you can make that change. The next one is permalinks, which is the last one here. And for this one, again, not much to do here, but you do want to change this one here, because the default is this one right here that has this P equals 1, 2, 3. The post name is a number, which isn't necessarily optimized for good tags or for the search engines. So one of these other ones would be a better choice, meaning the sample post, and that would be actually the name of your post, the title of it, and that's a real important part to include. So here's a little trick right here. Just click on one of these, let's say this month and name right here, and I don't necessarily need all these dates in here, but I do want the sample post, the title. What it does, as you noticed, is it puts it all right in here when I clicked on it, but I don't necessarily need all the dates on there. At least if you do, you can, but it can get a little bit long. So what I do is click right here, as you see the cursor there, and then go ahead and just hit the delete key and delete everything right up to this point right here. And that way it'll be a custom URL, also known as a permalink, and it will show your domain name. In my case, it's demo-domainname.info / post name, which would be, say, the title of the post that I'm writing. And that's it for that. And later on you can learn more about how to customize it even more with category bases. Alright, so click on Save Changes, and that will do it. There you've got your basic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 settings done, and you are now ready to go to the next video and start grabbing some plugins, some critical plugins, and uploading them, activating them, and then configuring them. And then we'll be ready to start writing some content. Okay, so we're getting real close, and we'll see you on the next video. This is Joe Jacobson with Step-by-Step Blog Building.